there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Get Your Ass Up and Move Fitness and Nutrition podcast. I am your host, peta-gay Barrett with Barrett Fitness. And on this podcast, we discuss fitness, nutrition, overall health, and overall well-being. Today's podcast is actually in honor of International Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is the month of October. And we have a special guest, Miss Bronhil Thompson. Welcome, Bronhil.
Hi, peta-gay. How are you?
I am doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous, and I'm highly blessed and favored.
Awesome.
And flavored as well.
Oh,
favored and flavored.
Flavored. I know you're Jamaican, so you're flavored.
Flavored.
Awesome. So as mentioned before, it is International Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Bronhil is actually a breast cancer survivor. So tell us, where exactly are you joining us from today, Bronhil?
I'm joining you from Kingston, Jamaica, home of the Saint Bolt.
And my hometown as well. So, well, it's such a pleasure having you today. This is a very important conversation. And with you being a breast cancer survivor, what better person to have this conversation with? And the topic for today is how she kicked breast cancer's ass. So Brian,
I got my ass up and move. I know that's right.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you, public speaker, you're self-coach, motivational speaker. Tell us a little bit more about Bronhil.
Okay. Bronhil is a business owner. I have been in business for the past 11 years. I am a good friend to have, if I must say so myself. I'm a mother of two, and I'm a lover of God.
Good. Awesome.
To sum it up, that's just it. That's just who I am. Very simple.
Right. Awesome. And you are joining us from Kingston, Jamaica. You are a breast cancer survivor, and that's what our topic will be today. So we are going to jump right into it, Bronhil. So tell us, how did you find out you had breast cancer?
You said I'm a survivor. I rather call myself a victor. I'm victorious. I have been victorious through Christ. But in 2017, I felt a lump in my breast. Now, I don't like to feel and touch my breast. I'm just not one of those persons, And one night I was laying in bed and I started to touch the breast and I felt a lump. But normally, my breasts are normally lumpy. So I, never gave it much thought. And a couple of weeks later, I touched it again, and felt the lump, but it was huge. The lump was very large. As a matter of fact, the measurement was 3.1 times 2.1 centimeter. So it was huge. So I decided I've never had a mammogram, never in my life. This was 2017. And I decided to go and see my doctor. So when I went to the doctor, had me go and do a mammogram. When I did the mammogram, they said, they asked me a question. They said, do you have lumpy breasts? And I said, yes. And they said, oh, well, I don't worry too much about it, but here, let's go and do an MRI and, all the other tests that followed. And I did. And so I went as far as doing a biopsy on the breast, and it came back positive.
Wow. So what prompted you to, you said you're not the type of woman who, like to touch your breast. What prompted you to do that when you actually did it?
I can't tell you what prompted me. I just started feeling my breast. I can't tell you what prompted. I can't remember, what prompted me to touch the breast. But, once in a while you're sure and you might feel the area and stuff like that. But and I just laying in bed, I just had my hand on my left because it was on my left side. And I just started touching the area and I felt the lump, but I didn't think much of it. And then weeks after that, I did the same thing and it was there. It was still there. you know, and, you know, that's when I decided to go check it out.
Right. So at that point, did you have any kind of discomfort, you know, were you feeling any pain or anything like that? No symptoms?
Listen, when I touched that area and went and had a conversation with my doctor, went and had the mammogram, the MRI, all the tests, you know, that they would recommend that you do. When I had all of that, I was still not, and I researched the internet, you know, started reading a lot and stuff like that. And none of the symptoms that they explained or spoke about in all my research, I had not one. The only thing I had was a lump. That's it.
But so the research that you did indicated that some women have symptoms.
Some
but you had none whatsoever.
Absolutely. You know, you'd have pussy breast, pain, you know, a lot of other things. I had none. All I had and all I felt was a lump. That's it.
Right. So you went to your doctor, you did the mammogram, you did the MRI, and the MRI was what indicated that you had breast cancer.
The MRI picked something up, you know, a lump was there, etc. And I believe, was it the MRI? I think it was the MRI because I had CT scans, I had, you know, a lot of other things. And the MRI showed that it had migrated or expanded into my lymph nodes, you know, under my armpit.
Right.
So it had begun to spread, you know, and then I did the biopsy, and that's when it staged me, and I was at stage 3B.
Wow.
Well, let me tell you, girl, you know that stage 4 is the highest level.
That's where
right?
you don't want to be.
Yeah. Right, you know, and I was to have all these feelings and these discomfort and pain and that time. I was feeling things. I was like, I don't think I have breast cancer
because you felt fine.
Yeah, I feel fine, right? And when they staged me and it was 3B, I said, I don't know. So I left Jamaica and I went to Florida, and I had them look at the results and, you know, spoke to a doctor there, etc., and had them do what they didn't go back through the testings and stuff like that. And the doctor said, yes, it's stage 3B, and, you know, where I wanted to do the therapy, the chemo, because they had told me now what my treatment would be.
Right.
And I said, no, I'm coming back home to Jamaica to start the treatment. I know prior to going to the US, I had, when they staged me, when they diagnosed my condition, because I'm looking at the histology report now, and it said I was diagnosed with R/O invasive carcinoma with auxiliary node involvement. And when I saw that report, I reached out. Now, prior to me getting the diagnosis, my aunt in the States, who is in the medical field, had sent me a video about a woman in Jamaica that had survived breast cancer. Now, I had no, you know, I'm saying, why are you sending me this? I don't have breast cancer. I don't, you know.
And you're saying that was prior to you being diagnosed.
Prior to me feeling the lump, everything, you know. I tell you, God works in mysterious ways. And she sent the video to me. The woman was interviewed here locally on television. Her name is Deborah Williams. She had been interviewed locally, so my aunt sent me the clip. Yeah, so I watched it, put it aside, and, you know, that was it. I'm going on with my day's work and, you know, carrying on everything. Until I had to draw back for that video. Because now when I'm diagnosed, what she had done was to go through natural healing to cleanse herself.
Right.
And, you know, when you get a diagnosis such as cancer, 2 things I would encourage persons to do. You have to first accept it, because you have to now move to treatment. And
because you can't be in denial, I would imagine.
And if you're in denial, not for long.
Right.
Not for long.
Right. That would prevent you from getting the care and doing the things that you need to do to actually help heal yourself. Right.
Absolutely. The second thing you need to do is to seek persons that will support you. That's critical.
Right. Which is one of the questions I have for you, Bronhil. So now you've been diagnosed. Now you know that you're going to have to go. How supportive was your family? And like you were going to get into it. How did that help the process?
Okay, so it's interesting because I had a very strong support system around me, a very, very, very strong support system.
Wow, good for you.
When persons are diagnosed with cancer, they don't want persons bombarding them with a lot of questions, and we don't want pity. Do not pity us. Right. Encourage us, motivate us, lift us up. Talk to us about the possibilities. Talk to us about persons who have survived.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So when I had it, I shunned away from it. I shut it off and said, no, not me. It's not me. I don't have cancer. But my family, they rallied around me. My mom and I went to the United States. We went to the hospital together to get for them to do what they need to do to see if I really have that cancer. Right. Because I had to send when they took in the biopsy, because they go in with a gun, a needle, and they shoot it in your breast and they pull that flesh out.
Tissue out.
So I had to send that to the United States prior to it arriving there for them to test it.
Got it.
And stuff like that. Right. So I had that support system around me. And I had girlfriends that went through the same scenario. As a matter of fact, let me go back to when my aunt sent me that video. So I reached out to Deborah, who had it. She had it in the same breast. It was large. The only thing Deborah did was to surgically remove that lump. I did not have that option.
Oh, no.
Mine was too large and extended into the nipple.
It was too far gone.
So the doctor said, you don't have the option of removing that lump
itself.
And so I visited Deborah, and now Deborah was becoming, she had survived it. She was a victor. And she started studying in the field of naturopathic science.
Holistic. Mm-hmm.
Yes, holistic. And so she encouraged me. She said, Bronhil, you don't have to do chemo. You don't have to do any of these things, because my treatment plan was chemotherapy, surgery, double mastectomy.
Wow.
Okay. Even though it was in one breast, they recommended me to remove both.
So stick a pin right there. You're saying you had the lump and the cancer only in one breast, but you had to have both of them removed?
Yeah, they recommended both to be removed because, because it had already spread to the lymph node. Later on, you might see it coming back in the other one. Look at Angelina Jolie. She doesn't have, but her history of breast cancer in her family. She decided to remove both, even though she was never diagnosed with it.
Right. So it's a safe way to go. Right.
It's a safe way to go. Right. So I took that route. I was never afraid of removing my breast. Never. I said, doctor, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get it done.
What did they say? If your right hand offends you, get rid of it or something?
Get rid of it. Chop it off.
Right? No, that's right.
I said, doctor, let's go, because I was going to I had a set of doctors around me, beautiful doctors, very beautiful doctors. And let's not jump there yet.
Right.
So Deborah took me through a whole cleansing. And so I had to, for 8 days, I had to go through a thorough cleansing of my kidney, my liver, my colon, everything. I had to clean the body, blood, everything. I had to clean
what exactly did that look like? When you say cleaning the blood, cleaning your kidney, and what exactly does that look like?
Okay, so I went on a program. Let me see if I can remember. I can't remember all, what.
Right, but just kind of give us a synopsis. Is it stuff that you were eating, stuff that you were drinking?
Yeah, I was juicing. I was drinking. In the mornings, I would get up. The first thing I would put to my mouth was a glass of water. As a matter of fact, the first thing I was instructed to do was to get rid of microwave out of my home, go in my fridge, in my closets, in my cabinets, get rid of all foods that were preserved,
processed foods.
Processed foods.
Yeah.
Get rid of all of those. And I did that. I gave away my microwave toss a lot of food down the drain, threw them out.
Mm-hmm.
And I now had to move to green leafy vegetables.
Right,
and I had to consider fruits, vegetables, you know, not only sweet potato, real brown rice, you know. So I now had to be shopping in the market and in the Whole Food stores.
Okay.
So supermarket, not so much.
Because you want fresh, wholesome fruit that comes from the earth, not stuff that's been pre-packaged and processed.
Right. You know, and so I did all of that, and I had to learn a new way of living, basically. I had to learn, because each morning I got up, I had to have the glass of water. Then I moved to a warm lemon water, and I drank that. I had to take prebiotics in the morning. And then each hour on the hour, I had to be taking something else, you know. Mind you, I have not started chemo. I have not started anything yet.
So at this point, Bronhil, are you having any symptoms yet? Are you in pain or any discomfort?
No.
So how long was this after your diagnosis?
You know, after I was diagnosed, no, when I went to my family doctor, and she told me to go get tested, I did not move until about probably 6 weeks after that.
Wow.
And each time my doctor saw me, because we work on the same compound, my business is on the same compound as the doctor.
Right.
You've not, Bronhil, you have not, you know. But I think I was in denial, and, you know.
Part of it, right, I'm sure.
She said possibly it was, but I need to go test and you know, for something to come back conclusive. And then when I was tested and it came back positive, I reached out to Deborah. That's the first thing. So
it was shortly after, before you haven't have to start any kind of treatments or anything.
I reached out. I was diagnosed, I think it was the Friday, and the Sunday I reached out. I remembered because I had forgotten the tape, the
video that
my aunt sent me via WhatsApp. I had forgotten about that. And the Sunday in bed, I remembered it, and I started searching back through my phone, you know, for that person, and I found it, and I called her that Sunday, you know, and immediately she got me on a plan, and we started that I think the Monday I started, and I was on an 8-day plan of cleansing my system. Right. So during the 8 days, I had no food, no hard food. I was just juicing. I had to blend 3 green leafy or 3 vegetables, you know, blend them together and put chia seed, all sorts of seeds in it.
The stuff that, and I think that's kind of how we connected on social media around that time. And I was doing all the smoothies and stuff like that.
Yes. Oh my God. So I had to make that smoothie, and the smoothie became my breakfast, lunch, dinner.
So how did that affect? Did you lose weight? Because that's a drastic change you had made in your diet.
Wait.
Oh my God.
And that's when I believe you guys to say it's 80% of what you put in your mouth.
It is.
And 20% exercise. Girl, I was girl, you couldn't talk to me.
Right. So even though you were diagnosed with cancer, you went this route where you still had to do the traditional, you know, medicinal.
I wasn't going to do it. Right? I wasn't going to do it, but the support system around me begged me, and you know, they pleaded with me, because I was only going to do it the holistic way. And my oncologist spoke to me, and she said, Bronhil, do both.
Yes.
Do both. You know, so I was doing both.
Right.
And let me tell you this, I believe in the whole food system so much.
Sister girl.
Because let me tell you, the lump was huge, right? It was 3 by 1 by 2 by 1 centimeters. It was huge. I had chemotherapy once per week, each Tuesday of each week. And the chemo lasted for about 45 minutes to an hour, somewhere there, okay? And when I had chemo on the second day, which is the second week, day 2, I said to the doctor, because by now I was putting a heat pack on the lump, right? Castor oil, something called DMSO, that red heat pack, put it on it, covered it, had plastic down, put that on top of the plastic, a rag, I covered myself with a towel and lied there for about half an hour with that thing on to reduce the lump. Day 2, second week, I said to the doctor, come and feel, my oncologist, I said, come and feel my breast. She felt it. I kid you not. She looked at me, she opened her eyes, she stood back, she took a step back, and she said, Bronhil, where is the lump?
Oh, wow. So it had totally disappeared, or it had just reduced in size?
You could not feel the lump. You could not feel it.
Wow.
You could not feel it.
Right.
Remember, I've been preparing myself. I've been cleaning out myself, preparing myself. I had not touched chemo. I did 8 days of cleansing.
Mm-hmm. And we know that one kind of chemo did not do that.
And one chemo could not have done it. I think I was to do 8 weeks or something like that of chemo. One chemo, I guess, helped just blast it.
Right. Oh, no. Kind of get the process started. If that was the case, they would just say, let's just do 1 or 2 and see how it goes.
Right. So I said to the doctor, because girl, all this time I'm taking chemo, I'm in my heels, I'm distressed, and I'm looking fabulous, and they always tease me and say, oh my God, are you going to a fashion show? You're coming to do your chemo. I'm just well put together and dressed, and I had that support system around me that encouraged me. So I was always in a good mood. That's why I say to persons, if you're diagnosed with cancer, surround yourself with people that can keep you in that mood. In a positive, because my doctor at the end of surgery, and I will give you that story, he said to me, whatever you are doing, continue doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And these are doctors that they don't believe 100% in the natural cleansing of the body.
Right. Yes. This is not
but I had
as they would like it to be, so that's what they have to go with. Yeah. And I get that.
And when I heard my medical oncologist said, whatever you are doing, keep doing it. That spoke volumes to me. You know what I'm saying? And so yes. So
question. So I have heard, and I don't know anyone close to me who has cancer who's been through chemotherapy, but some of the things that I have heard is that once you do chemo, like you feel weak, like that day, after, or maybe a couple of days after. How did your body respond to chemo?
Let me tell you, God has been good, because I never felt weak, never. I always did my, let me see, you see here?
I don't think we can see. Okay.
That mark, can you see that mark?
Yep.
You see that mark? You can't see it?
Yep, I can see, yep.
Right, that mark is surgically implanted. They implanted, before I started chemo, I had to have something surgically implanted there to receive the drug. That's how you receive the chemo drug. So there's something implanted just under the skin, and then they take a needle and they push the needle in your skin into that instrument that they plant there. Nice. And you just sit in the chair and take your chemo drug. Now, the only negative impact I had with the chemo was initially when I took that drug. I remember in high school, when I had my menses, I used to sweat like a pig.
Oh, right.
And I used to have terrible menstrual cramps. And I used to be nauseated, nauseous, that sort of thing. So the first chemo drug, before they give you the chemo, they give you some medication. Because they are expecting you to have
those
some sort of
symptoms.
Yeah. So the medication is to ward off against those. And so I was sitting there taking the drug, and immediately, I've never felt the nauseousness, the sweating, the cramps in my stomach. That left me when I had my first child 16 years ago.
Wow.
Never felt it. Okay. Now, when they gave me the first dose of the chemo, it came on back immediately. Right. Immediately. And I was saying it to the nurse, and the person that went with the chemo with me said, no, it's your mind, it's your mind. And the nurse had to say to the individual, no, some persons react that way to the chemo. She's having that reaction. So what she asked me, she investigated, she said, okay, in your childhood, when you're experiencing all of this, what did the doctor give to you? What did you take to alleviate, all that? And I said, the only thing that helped me as a child was a tablet called Barralgin. And she said, okay. She got the Barralgin, she gave it to me, and it went. So that became a part of my pre-medication to the chemo, and I never experienced it again.
Wow.
Now there are two chemo drugs that you get. So they put you on one first. I can't remember what the first one was called, but the last one was called the Red Devil, AKA the Red Devil. It looks like blood.
Right.
And they give it to you, and they say that's the wicked one. Okay, it's called the devil, right? Mm-hmm. And when I got it, that was the only one that I felt just 2%, 3%, a little tired. Oh. But I was still going out to work.
So you would leave the doctor's office from your chemo and go to work?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Got the drug and just went right to work. Mm-hmm. It never affected me adversely where I had to stop.
Go lay down for days or whatever.
No. And what happened now, the chemo, what it does is to kill your white blood cells because it's destroying the white blood cells. Mm-hmm. And so I had to, because I was still now on the program, the holistic program, while doing the chemo. I was still doing what I need to, juicing. I was still doing everything, and what the doctor did now, I was losing white blood cells.
Oh, I see.
Right. And so ever so often I had to inject my stomach with, I can't remember the name of the drug now, to rebuild those white blood cells. And even though I was losing white blood cells, I didn't feel weak.
Right. Wow.
I didn't feel weak. And I believe it was the program that I was on,
of course,
the holistic program that I was on.
Yeah, because all these natural vitamins and minerals, I mean, one of the things that this stuff do, the vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin D, that, and some of the stuff I'm sure that you're getting from your natural fruits and vegetables, it's supporting your immune system and it's building your cells, and that's what's going to help your body to fight this, monster that's slowly taking over your body. So I mean, I preach this stuff every day. You know this, it's all about what we put in our mouth. It's majority about what we put in our mouth. And you are a living testament of that, being a breast cancer victor.
Victor, yes.
Right. So big thing is having support, positive people around you. And you seem like you have such a positive attitude. Like you're not acting like you're a victim. Like you're just gloriously telling your story, which is so amazing. Good for you.
peta-gay, before I was diagnosed, I remember sitting in a friend's office and I heard a voice. And I can only say it's the voice of God saying to me, something serious is going to happen to you, but don't you worry, you will be fine. But at the end, glory must come. I heard it that day when I was diagnosed with cancer. I was in my kitchen and I was crying and I was asking God, why me? And the voice came again, you will be healed, but glory must come at the end.
Right. Which leads me to my next question, Bronhil. How has this affected, which you've answered every question that I've had for you, which you're making this interview so easy, so thank you. But how has this affected your mental health? How would you say that this has affected your mental health? And what advice would you have for a woman who may be going through this process? What can she brace herself for psychologically?
Okay. Now, when you get the news, it's going to be devastating. It is. I'm not kidding you. It's going to be devastating. You're going to have a lot of questions. First comes denial. Then I had a lot of questions. Why me? Why me? But why not me?
Of course.
Why am I so special that it can't be me? And I see it as a blessing. A blessing because one, God, He told me I would be okay. And even though He told me I would be okay, I did not believe in totality that I would. And I started thinking about my kids. you know, and if I were to die, you know, what would happen to my kids, you know? And I had family and friends around me that were saying, you know, give thanks. It's, you know, people survive breast cancer, you know, just give thanks and, you know, carry on. And I had a lot of people praying for me. You know, I had my aunt in the medical field in the US that was, every time I went to the doctor, I had to get a report and pass it on to her to ensure that I was getting the good care as if I was in the US, you know. So I had a lot of support around. I had persons that were constantly calling me every morning. How are you? I had to report into persons, friends of mine. After I leave the doctor's office, I had to report. So the support, I can't stress how important support is, you know, around you.
And that will go a long way with helping you psychologically.
And it helps you psychologically, because I can tell you,
sad and depressed and go through.
I never, yeah. I mean, there are times when you break down. There are times when you break down, but my breakdown wasn't, out of 100, my breakdown was probably 5% of the time, because I was constantly around people that kept me in a sane mindset. Because I can tell you, whatever you think, you will become. So if you think that you're sick, which is why I say I'm not a survivor, I never survived anything.
Right.
I was victorious over cancer. You understand? I was victorious because of God and His mercy. Right? So your mindset has a lot to do with how you fight things. If you think it will consume you, so it shall. If you think you will be victorious over it, you will be victorious over it. I remember visiting my doctor's office one day, and she said to me, Bronhil, I need to go into the room that they were giving the chemo. There's a young lady in there. She's in her early 20s. And she is scared out of her mind. I needed to go in there and talk to her. No, my doctor asked me because she knew the mindset I had when I was going through the cancer, right? And I had to go in and, you know, comfort her, talk to her, that sort of a thing, you know? And so we developed a relationship, a friendship, you know, over the years and stuff like that. So your mindset is important.
It's important. This actually leads into one of my last questions that I have for you. Everyone is not going to have the support that you do, right? I live in the States, in Atlanta, and I have family, but they're not even in the state that I'm in, right?
Yeah.
My parents are in Jamaica, my sister lives in Florida, my brother lives in Alabama, I'm in Georgia. Like, what would you tell the person who doesn't have that support? Like, what did you tell that young lady when you went into her, you know, what do you tell that person who doesn't have...
She had the support of her parents because her parents were there. But for persons who have families and friends that are not in close proximity to them, you don't have to be, it's best if you have someone close by, but if you don't, then a phone call.
Yeah.
You know, listen, we're not living in the 70s or 80s anymore. I'm talking to you, you're way over there.
Right. Exactly.
I'm right here. You know what I mean? So give that support, whether it's through telephone, WhatsApp, messages, prayer. Let the person know that you're praying for them. But never, ever in your support be negative with that person. Never, ever bring negative things to them. Don't tell them, oh, I had a friend or my mom died from it. Never, ever go there.
Right.
You know, just be positive. Maintain that positivity. And just talk about everyday life. You don't have to call the person talking about the cancer every day.
Every day, right.
No,
just talk about other stuff that take their mind off.
Life goes on. We don't want you to pity us. Life continues. You understand what I'm saying? Right. And you need someone around you to encourage you to eat well. Your program, persons can log into your program, see what you do on a day-to-day basis, because those are the things that makes your body alkaline. And in an alkaline body, cancer will not survive. Cancer loves sweets. And I love sweets, by the way. But, you know,
we all do, right? Like, especially women, we get those cravings, and it's not the occasional, what I tell people every day, it's not the occasional treat that's going to, you know, poison your body and make you have diabetes. One thing, obesity and high cholesterol. It's the consistent and habitual doing it on a regular basis, right? If you have
That's
a,
what,
you
yeah.
go on vacation and you decide you want to have ice cream or you want to have cake or you want to have dessert with your family, that's not going to bother you. But if you do it on a regular basis, you're poisoning your body. And that's when you're going to harbor all the stuff like, you know, the cancers and the diabetes and the high blood pressure, you know, that's going to lead to heart disease and other issues. It's all about the things that we put in our mouth.
Absolutely. And remember, we all have cancer cells in our bodies.
That is
something triggers it. You know, I felt mine was stress, but something triggers it, right? And so stress, we have to learn how to control stress in our lives. We have to learn how to control stress, because I believe that's what brought my cancer on me, stress, you know, business stress.
So in wrapping up, how has breast cancer changed your life today? What would you say that you do differently? I hope that you're still, you know, eating right. You look amazing. So you had some ice.
I try, but I'm not. I must confess, I've moved a little away from vegan lifestyle. I've put back weight on, but how has it changed my life? I've begun to appreciate people, appreciate what I have, appreciate health. You know, I take health a little bit more seriously, and I appreciate people around me. You know, before I was just moving. It was just about business, you know, getting things done and stuff like that. But I've learned to slow down, not take on things. I mean, it has not gone. Stress is still there, because once you operate a business, it's stressful. It's stressful. Right? But I've learned to sort of step back, and whatever happens that I can't control just happens. I've learned to understand and accept that I cannot control everything. You understand? And I've also moved closer, have a closer relationship with God, you know, because I believe that is key, you know. So that's how it has changed. I've also, I'm trying to, you know, your bucket list.
Oh, yeah.
That bucket.
That's one of the things that I've heard people who has, you know, been through something as traumatic as you have, that, you know, you create that bucket list and you just, because life is short, right? You're not like, I'm going to die tomorrow, but it just put things into perspective. Live life at its fullest, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring.
You don't know. And you know, the cancer may not take you out, you know. It could be something else while you're experiencing cancer, because for me, it could have been a blood clot, because I fainted in my house. I fainted away, you know, got up from the bed to use the bathroom, and I knew nothing thereafter, you know. And when I went to the doctor, because I was feeling a pain, because when they port you, and they put that thing in you, they bring a tube up to your neck.
Oh, wow.
Right here. So it's from here and it comes right here. Right? So it looks like a vein. When I'm walking around, it looks like a vein.
Right.
And I was feeling pain there.
That was implanted in you throughout your whole chemo process?
Yeah. I kept it throughout. When I had surgery, they removed it.
Got
right?
it. Okay.
But I felt a pain in the neck. And I'm wondering, where's this pain coming from? And it would not go away. And I got up the Saturday night, went to the bathroom, and that was it. I was out cold. And when I came back to and went to the hospital, I told them I had cancer, etc. And they told me I had an infection. And I said, no, I don't have an infection. You know, and they gave me some pills to go home and take, and I was taking it. And I said, no, I don't have an infection, because it's not going away. The feeling is still there. It's not going away. So I decided to go back to the place that ported me. And when I went and they did, is it the CT scan that pregnant women have? Is it?
I think
that
so.
thing that they put out, that liquid gel looking thing that you rub that. Yeah, I had that done on the neck area. And they said to me, go right now to your oncologist. You have a blood clot, you know. So I was on blood thinners as well, you know. So you have to be mindful, and you have to know your body. And when you're going through cancer, know your body. know what's not right, and act on it urgently.
Mm-hmm. And for women in general, as we wrap up here, I just think we need to know our body, period.
Yeah,
Like,
in general,
it's something that triggered you to want to check your breast, and then you checked it again. And if you hadn't done that, like, who knows how far this thing would have gone. We just need to be aware. We need to be conscious of what we eat, what time we go to bed, what we say, our mindset in general. Just be in tune with your body. So one last question. What would you tell someone who is going through this process right now? What advice would you have for that person who's going through this process?
The first thing that comes to my mind is trust God. Pray. Trust God and pray. Secondly, move into, I believe in the holistic. I can't stress that enough. I believe in the holistic way. Start juicing. Let juicing become your friend.
Right.
Start juicing.
That's what I say. Let it become medicine.
Yeah. Remove the microwave. Get rid of the microwave out of your kitchen. Get rid of all the processed foods out of your kitchen and start juicing. Right? I can't tell persons not to do chemo, not to do this. It's your decision. It was certainly mine. Right. Initially, I said I wasn't going to do it, but at the end, when I look at everything, analyzed everything, listened to everyone, I thought, okay, let me do both. Right? But I can't tell persons don't do X, don't do Y. But I can tell you, juicing, man, let that be a part of your routine. Let that be a part.
Right. And even if you're not going through, cancer or any other disease, it's not going to hurt,
It's not going to hurt.
It's even with COVID and everything we have going on right now, at minimum boosting your cells to support yourselves from the cold and any viruses and bacteria. It is the way to go. Thank you so very much for your time, Bronhil. This was
most welcome
conversation. And you guys, I just hope that this conversation will touch one person. If we touch at least one person who, even if you're not going through it, someone who is going through it, and you can just call them and be a support system for them, because not everyone has the support that Bronhil has. I know for me, if I go through something like that, I don't have that support directly. I have family, and I know there are people who will call me directly that's going to be here to give me that hug sometime that you may need. It could be a co-worker, it could be a sibling, it could be anyone. But having that great mindset and someone that you can call upon is going to go a long way if you're going through breast cancer or cancer, anything like that. Right, Bronhil?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, thank you, my dear. Thank you so much.
You're welcome anytime.
Tell us where we can find you. I know you and I connected on Instagram. That's how we met.
Yes. I'm on Instagram. I'm too old to be on these things, but hey, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitter at I am Bronhil.
I am Bronhil. I will link all the, Bronhil's information, and maybe you can just reach out to her, and just ask a question, something that I may have missed. You may be going through this, and how she had that video from her family member, she lived it. And she is a victor, and I am so glad to have you as our conversation today. And hopefully we can touch one person.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Bronhil. And you guys, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for checking out my podcast. You guys know where to find me by now. YouTube, Instagram. I'm too old for all of this, but I still do it because I hope to share my information with you guys on a daily basis. So until next time, you all, Bronhil and I, we are out.